Sound off in the beginning, we ain't losing, we back to winning. Hometown love been repping from the start. Nothing but niners, red and gold in my heart. And we.
What's going on, faithfuls? It's your boy Nick, and I'm joined by Scott from Nothing But Niners crew. Man, we got an exciting camp coming up on us, and second day of practice with pads on. Got a lot to talk about, a lot to cover. Just want to go over a few things, but first, what's going on, Scott? How's everything going?
It's going good. I'm on holiday from uni, so I've got a bit of time on my hands, and been following camp quite closely. Excited about some things, saddened by a few other things, but yeah, I'm excited to chat about it.
Yeah, man, definitely. Let's talk about camp so far. So, Elvis Dumerville came out and said that, yeah, we don't have pads on yet, and then once we put the pads on, it's to distinguish, the football players from the T-shirt guys, basically. So. The reason I bring that up is because Matt Breida was killing it with no pads on. And now that he has pads on, he can't get past the line of scrimmage with pads on. I don't know if that's due to our offensive line play or the havoc that our defensive front is filling in. So what are your thoughts on Matt Breida?
So I think we had a discussion that sort of related to this on our running backs video, which was a while back, where we were sort of breaking it down. And I think there were a few of us who felt that Matt Breida was going to be a bit of a T-shirt guy, at least in his first year. I mean, I think he came out of college about 195, and apparently he's now about 200 pounds. So he's not a huge guy. Certainly not compared to the sort of the defensive lineman that he's going to be meeting sort of at the line of scrimmage, which is what he's doing currently. I think the thing with Breida is that there are multiple sides to this coin. Firstly, number one, yes, he ran a similar scheme in his first 2 years at college, which meant that he's relatively comfortable doing what he's being asked to do right now. But there's still a learning curve. Number two, I think by all accounts, our defensive line have been fairly dominant. And when your defensive line has been dominant against an offensive line, which clearly needs some work still, there's question marks at center, there's question marks at both guard positions. And Trent Brown, we've heard he's getting beaten up in the passing game, and the running game probably wasn't his strength last season. That's not a great line to run behind for anyone. And if your defensive line is doing bits, then that's only going to make a running back's job harder. The one that is worth considering is that we've not heard any other running backs aren't getting past the line of scrimmage. And so that's going to be, a bit of this is going to be on Breida, but there are other factors in play here. But certainly, I don't think we should be expecting a mad performance from Matt Breida, either in training camp or even this season. Purely, I mean, he's an underrated rookie for a reason.
Right, and it's just funny because I've heard conflicting reports on him, as in Joe Fan has said that Matt Breida's speed is like top notch. He's been a star to watch out for. You hear other people, people reporting that he hasn't made it past the line of scrimmage, and I'm in agreement with you on. He's going to be a T-shirt guy at first. So, that whole running back situation is going to be kind of interesting to watch. There has been a lot of talk about how Tim Hightower has been filling in with, with knowing the scheme as well as being able to the toughness and ability that he needs to have to play in the scheme. I thought that was kind of interesting in his presser the other day. But before we get too in depth of things that we see going on, man, let's talk about these injuries because the injuries are definitely are falling day by day. So, I'm saddened to say that Jimmy Gilbert has a torn ACL. He's going to be out for the season, needs surgery ending season. Our thoughts and prayers are out to Jimmy Gilbert, linebacker for the 49ers. He was an undrafted free agent. Keep your head and your chin high, buddy, and make sure you don't stop grinding and keep grinding forward. So, but the main concern that I have, and I want to get your info on this, is with the safety position right now. Jimmy Ward goes down first with a hamstring. Doesn't look too serious. Said he was running on a side field yesterday, the day after it happened. The injury to Tart for high ankle sprain. Not Tart, I'm sorry, Reed for the high ankle sprain. And then today, Tart with a rib injury, saying that, it took him about 30 minutes to walk off the field. with that injury. Some are speculating that it could be a torn rib or a broken rib, or hopefully it's just a really bad bruise, because I don't want to be, the Debbie of downfallers, but if it's a torn rib or a broken rib, that's not a good look for us. So what's your thought on these injuries and what we're going to do at this safety position?
Yeah, I'm concerned about it because I think there was a consensus that the safety position was going to be stronger than cornerback for the 49ers this year. And actually, I personally thought that the way Lorenzo Jerome was playing, we could see a situation where you basically got 4 safeties on the field because of the responsibilities that nickel corners have in this scheme, the responsibilities that strong safeties have, nickel linebackers. We could see kind of a dime or a nickel package where Jimmy Ward could play outside corner, Eric Reed, Jaquoski Tart, Lorenzo Jerome will all be on the field as well, doing their individual jobs, and then you'd have maybe one corner on the field. And that would make up for the weakness of that cornerback position. And right now, we literally don't have a safety other than Lorenzo Jerome and Chancellor James and Vinny Sunseri. And obviously, I'm not sure about Sunseri, but I'm pretty sure, well, I know Jerome and James are undrafted free agents, so I think Sunseri may have been or was a late round pick. And these are guys with very little NFL experience being asked to basically now take the reins and start for an NFL team. If 49ers were playing tomorrow, those guys would be their starters. We don't know how bad Jaquoski Tart's injury is. Doesn't sound good. Hoping it's not a bad one. But Eric Reed, day to day, hopefully he'll be back soon. He's really key. Jimmy Ward, hopefully he is back by Denver. To be quite frank, I don't care if he's not back for the whole of preseason. As long as he's back week 1, I think that's basically the most important thing for Jimmy Ward. But we need our safeties back because they're going to be the guys that hold the back end of that defense together. It's not going to be the corners, I don't think.
Right.
So a big problem. And we had Jarvis Bird in for a workout. Maybe he's the guy to call. There are safeties out there that we could probably call up, but let's face it, this is not a good situation, regardless of who you can bring in off the street. These guys have been working all off season, working hard. They know the scheme really reasonably well now. They knew their jobs. They're showing some versatility, and now the 3 best guys are all out, which is kind of a nightmare.
Yeah, and I've been saying throughout this whole offseason is that I wanted to I really wanted to see Jimmy Ward playing opposite of Robinson, because I thought that's where best fit would be for this defense, and have Tart playing the free safety and Eric Reed playing the box safety type deal. But now that the injuries are happening, I don't see that happening, obviously. But the only thing that worries me about Ward, man, is he got injured stretching. This guy is very injury prone, and we've talked about this before on the podcast numerous times, as well as I've talked to other members of the NB Niners crew on injuries with Jimmy Ward. But, hopefully it's not anything too serious. And, like you said, he's back by Denver practice, or at least week 1 for the most part. Don't push it to get him in there, because those hamstrings are nothing to be messed with. If you mess with them, it can take you out from a week to the entire season. So, but I believe that he did have a injury as well last year with a hamstring, as well as Bruce Ellington as well. So, but enough about the safety talk and these injuries, man. I want to talk about. So let's talk about linebacking core real quick. All right. So we haven't heard much about Malcolm Smith, and which is a good thing. That there has been talks about him doing his job, holding it down at that will position. There's been talks about Navarro Bowman doing his thing, Ray doing his thing, but Reuben Foster is hitting the critics all over the place right now. And I know he's going against 3rd and 4th stringers, Nick Mullins and C.J. Beathard at times. But I found it interesting because Kyle Shanahan said something in his presser today about Reuben Foster getting his 3rd interception in 4 days, about Reuben Foster bit on the same play that they threw yesterday. And he ran, he wrapped up the running back, and they threw the ball over his head, and, it went for 40 yards or something like that, I believe. But today they ran the same play, and his instinct was he dropped back, cut off, and made the interception. So that's showing that he's learning, reading this type of offense, reading this type of defense, and isn't making that the bad decision for a second time in a row. So I definitely think that this guy's going to be some good talent, man. He's going to be great talent. I mean, I'm not saying that he doesn't know how to play football, because we have all watched him in Alabama. And, but the thing that stood out to me in his presser the other day, which is what I really like, he's like, look, the ball has a knack for me. I don't have a knack for the ball. And one of the media guys says, well, do you take this all into consideration, and does this basically like hype you up or whatever? He says, no, basically I need to step back and understand that I'm still learning. He's like, I don't let this stuff get to me. I don't make this stuff that comes to me these days, these interceptions and stuff like that, to make my head grow bigger. So what are your thoughts on that whole conversation with Reuben Foster?
I'm excited by it. I think the one good thing everyone keeps talking about, and you mentioned it as well, was the whole rookie mistakes, that you don't make the same mistake twice. And the fact that he's not made the same mistake twice is real positive. The fact that he learns from day to day. One day they throw, make a big gain on a pass because he bit on a play action. Another day, on exactly the same play, he goes back and intercepts the ball. The other thing that I think is positive about this is one of the knocks on him coming out of Alabama was that, yeah, he was good in pass coverage, but he wasn't actually a turnover generator in pass coverage. But he's already done that. So it's good to see that he's generating turnovers, he's intercepting balls. And I just think this creates a really nice headache for the 49ers. And it shows kind of everyone that the expectation was he's a really smooth mover. In coverage, he's rangier than he's probably given credit for, and we've seen now he can come away with the ball. The biggest knock on him, probably, other than the fact that he wasn't generating turnovers, was he gets swamped in run defense sometimes. He'll run into an O-lineman and they'll just destroy it. This is what happens when you're less than 230 pounds playing the linebacker position. And that happened at college. At the NFL level, it will happen as well. And there was obviously the idea that there was an issue potentially with him leaving his assignment and freelancing a little bit, guessing on plays, overcommitting, and again, sort of being swamped on a run play or taking himself out of the play. The 49ers is a really great, sort of almost great problem to have, because what you can do is you can allow him to develop at the NFL level, build up a little bit of NFL kind of man strength by having Navarro Bowman and Malcolm Smith playing your base packages. But he's starting to show the coverage stripes that make you think he can play nickel. He can be a nickel linebacker as a rookie. He can do all that coverage stuff. And Malcolm, this is an area that Malcolm Smith has struggled. And then also we've heard Ray Armstrong's been used in that role as well. So the 49ers are preparing solutions to potential problems that haven't even reared their head yet. Is Malcolm Smith's coverage going to continue to be a problem? Who knows? But if it is, Reuben Foster can cover him. Is Navarro Bowman's coverage going to be a problem this year with the Achilles? Is he going to be as explosive? Is he going to be, more importantly, is he going to be as agile? Who knows? But if not, Reuben Foster can cover him. Ray Armstrong can cover him. It's a nice that the 49ers have solutions to problems that haven't even happened yet.
Right. And we can all be in agreement, right, that this defense is definitely up on the upwind, right? So we're definitely going upwards. Other than right now the safety injuries that are very concerning. We'll have to wait to hear more on that to actually get a good feel about that. So, let's pray that, Eric Reed's high ankle sprain isn't as bad. Let's hope that Tart's rib injury isn't that bad. Last I heard, like I said, just to touch base on that again, was possibly either a broken rib or a torn rib. Let's pray that it's not that. Let's just pray it's a deep bruise or something like that. But man, Brian Hoyer and Marquis Goodwin have this crazy hookup right now. I mean, Marquis is leaving guys at the line of scrimmage, and he's in sixth gear before they get out of first. I mean, how much is Marquis Goodwin going to help this team with his speed, but not only being that deep threat go route runner, he's running these routes where DBs have to play him back to where they have to get that step on him. But the way that he is comprising people to play him playing back, being able to take off, but being able to stop and change his route is going to help, right? So it's going to help other receivers because Marquis is going to make you play him over the top as well as help Garcon or Robinson or Curley or whoever else is out there, because that's going to slide a safety to his side. Curley with the slants or coming out of the slot, or Ellington or whoever it is. We don't know who the final 53 are going to be yet. But it's got Marquis's speed on this and his hands and his ability to run routes and not be a one-hit wonder, kind of like Torrey Smith was, should help this offense. I mean, what are your thoughts on Marquis Goodwin in this offense and Brian Hoyer so far with the passing ability and deep ball?
Yeah, I think with Goodwin, it remains to be seen if he's going to be more than a one-hit wonder. I'd like to see him run routes in more of a competitive environment, because we've seen someone like, for example, a Nelson Aguilar repeatedly dominating in training camp, but then when it gets to real matches, he's nowhere. But I think there's very good signs about Goodwin right now, and it's as you say, defenses have to plan for speed. It doesn't matter what else he's got; they always have to plan for the fact that if you try and defend him press, you're going to have to roll a safety over. There's no doubt about it, because if he manages to elude that slightly, or if he's not jammed at the line, essentially, he's going to run by you. There's no doubt about it. So if you want to play press, you're going to have to shade the safety. If you play off, you're still probably going to have to shade the safety. And all it's going to do is it's going to open up space for everyone else. And it's going to open up space for him as well, because he's not just going to be running long all the time, but he can, as you say, accelerate and then just run a curl. He can run slant routes. He can run digs. He can run outs. He can run all the route combinations. And his pace is just going to mean the defense has to focus on Marquis Goodwin. And that helps everybody else. You know, we've got, if the 49ers, we're not sure how good our tight ends are, those guys are going to get way more space underneath if the defense are worried about Marquis Goodwin. Someone like Trent Taylor is going to have is going to be dreaming, because he's going to have more space to operate in, because the defense are going to be worrying about Marquis Goodwin. So the opportunities that he's going to create, not just for himself, but for everybody else on the team, is going to be enormous for the 49ers. And what's a good thing is that even if Marquis Goodwin goes down, Aldrick Robertson's a speedster. So if he sticks on the roster, he can do that same job. He can stretch you. He can worry you. So the fingers crossed Goodwin doesn't go down. Like, touch wood right now, because we've had a lot of injuries, and that would be the last guy right now we want to go down injured. But even if he does, we've got other guys. Speed kills. That's what they say.
Right. And speed definitely does kill, but not only speed, but the ability to run routes and have good hands as well will help with that speed, because you're not one-dimensional. So I definitely agree with that, Scott. But, man, I'm super pumped over here, man. The last 2 days of camp with full pads on has been, the reports that we're hearing coming out from all different avenues of media. Definitely looks like we're on the rise. One of our commenters said, Mike said that you can't really say that the defense is on the rise right now, because corners are getting burnt, safeties are going down injured. But I was talking about the front seven. Our defensive line in the front seven is definitely on the rise. I wanted to put this question out there to everybody. Me and Mike were discussing this earlier. And how many sacks do you think the 49ers will have this year? Right? So we were talking about that. I'm not going to tell you what Mike's answer was to me. I just want to kind of see what people are feeling on that. And you don't need to put it in a comment section or the live chat, but tweet at us and tell us how many sacks you think that the 49ers will have this year. Also, guys, we have 6 tickets to give away for the open practice. I just want to throw this in there real quick. Make sure you check out the mailbag. We're going to be giving away a pair of tickets to the best question asked for the mailbag. Scott will fill you in on that a little bit later. Also, we'll be going live on YouTube Wednesday night, and we will have some questions to ask. And if you feel that you want to answer those questions live, you can give us a call. We'll be broadcasting. We'll give you that telephone number once again. You can call in, and you can go on and answer those questions that we have. Basically, I'm not going to tell you what those questions are pertaining, but you'll have to watch the show live, and you will find out what those questions will be containing, because I don't want to give anything away. So, Scott, why don't you fill everybody in on the mailbag real quick?
So we're doing a training camp mailbag. will tweet out at the end of this as well, asking for your questions. But commenting below this video if you have any questions for the training camp mailbag, got anything on your mind, anything you want us to look at answering, we will take a look at it. On Twitter, tweet us with any questions. On our Facebook page, Facebook us any questions. And yeah, just hit us up. We'll try and answer as many of them as possible. And the best question gets a pair of tickets to the open practice this Saturday.
Yeah, guys, definitely, man. Hey, guys, if you're not following us, let me just tell you where you can find us at real quick. You can find us on Twitter at NothingBut9ERS, as well as Snapchat, NothingBut9ERS. You can find us on Instagram, Nothing But Niners. You can find us on Facebook, group page, Nothing But Niners. You can find us on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play. The season's really vamping up now, guys. We're going to have more and more to talk about. We're going to be coming at you as hard as we possibly can. We're going to be putting out as much content as we possibly can. We've had a lot of great guests. You can also check us out here on our YouTube channel. Check out the likes of our George Kittle interview, Cole Hicatini, Lorenzo Jerome, Trent Brown, a ton of guests on there. A lot of great interviews, a lot of great conversations going on, as well as a lot of great content, guys. The Nothing But Niners crew is going to be bringing you a lot of content. Make sure you check out nothingbutniners.com. Check out all of our articles that all of our writers are writing. We also have a new writer to the group. Like to give him a little shout out. You can find him on Twitter at Kofi21. That's at COFY21. You can find him on Twitter. His name's Corey. He's going to be joining us on the Nothing But Niners crew here as a writer as well. Going to be putting out that great content. He'll have an article out tonight, I believe. Scott will be pushing that out. But yeah, man, it's super exciting season, man. We're definitely excited over here. We've already told you a lot of other things, man, but just keep your eyes open and your ears peeled, because we're definitely going to be putting out that content. So, Scott, what else you got, buddy?
Well, I suppose we've covered one of our goods for camp, haven't we? Marquis, Goodwin, Brian Hoyer. Yeah. The goods are definitely
bad
things, couple of ugly things.
What do you think stands out as the bad, other than injuries right now?
Yeah, so I think I'm actually going to put injuries in the ugly column. Injuries is ugly right now. I'm not enjoying those. Bad. I'm gonna say the interior of our O-line. When you're watching those one-on-one rushing drills, especially on the interior, guys are getting driven miles off the line of scrimmage. And it's not even close. That's a little concerning to me, because we're going to play some good teams. Even in our division, teams have got good interior pass rushers. This offense, regardless of how well it's schemed, how finely tuned it all is, how beautifully Brian Hoyer's throwing the ball, if he's getting pressure in his face and is getting hit in 2 seconds, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, man. Watching these one-on-one drills, man, I don't know if it's just the speed of our defensive line, or, I mean, Zane Beadles is getting drove back crazy far. Daniel Kilgore is getting drove back crazy far. Those are the two that I've seen getting pushed back so far. Solomon Thomas was working Zane Beadles earlier, and I was just like, man, is it just he's that strong, or is it just what is going on? So that is definitely a bad. I think that'll be fixed. There has definitely been a lot of good things, to look at. With Trent Brown. Trent Brown did give up 5 sacks in one game, but that was basically on one-on-ones. And I think once we get into 11-on-11s, you're not hearing as much about people getting driven back. So one-on-ones I'm okay with, but once we start playing team activities, practices and preseason games, as well as games, shit's got to tighten up. I definitely agree with that. So I mean, I can agree with you on that being the bad. So do you have any other bads?
I probably would mention the corners. Purely, it's not fair to judge them on one-on-ones, because what they're basically being asked to do is like a cover zero play every single play. And there's a reason cover zero is barely called. But what I will say is that it doesn't sound like Achille Witherspoon is really pushing either Reeser and Dante Johnson. And whether that was unfair fan expectation of him because he's 6'3", whatever, and actually he was never going to push those guys, then fair enough. But still, Reeser and Johnson aren't, by all accounts, aren't doing a great deal. And that's worrying that those two aren't performing at a particularly high level. It's alleviated somewhat by the strength of our front seven, and hopefully will be alleviated somewhat by the fact that we have 3, maybe even 4 safeties who can play kind of regular snaps and mean that there are just 1 or 2 genuine corners out there. But a little asterisk with the corners, it sounds like the nickel corners are playing well. So Will Redmond and K1 Williams. Does that mean the 49ers take a flyer on Will Redmond and say, right, well, we're actually going to put you outside for a little bit? I think he's capable of that. I think at sort of a few weeks ago, I thought he would be actually the number 3 corner because he could go inside and outside, and Rashard Robinson would do the same. So Rashard Robinson would just would follow the opposition's number 1 receiver at times. I thought Will Redmond had that advantage over K1 Williams. So I'm interested to see if they start looking at Redmond in particular because of his height. He's 6 foot, I think, so he's about Reese's size. He's a bit taller than Williams. Whether they start looking at him as a potential number 2 corner and then have Williams and Redmond in there, because I'm not excited about Dante Johnson or Keith Reeser.
Yeah, I've always been big on wanting to see Will Redmond. I have watched some clips of him. He doesn't look as fast as I thought he was, but that could just be the angles of the videos and stuff like that. I'm not physically out there, but I agree with you. I think that is a possibility. Touching on Achille Witherspoon, myself and Mike just had this conversation today, I believe, that is it us, or does he just not have that drive? He's just really well-toned, low-spoken. He's not a dog. He doesn't really he doesn't get into it on the football field. Like, he's not fierce. He's not, just because of his height and stuff like that. So, is he just, Mike said that, he talks about how he wants to be a doctor and stuff like that. So, if you want to be a doctor, go be a doctor. Don't come here. If you're not going to get raw and physical and do those kind of things, then I don't think that we need that right now. So I'm not holding that against the guy. I'm not saying that that's not who he is, but I want to hear more of aggressiveness from Achille Witherspoon more than, than the not so being aggressive. So I guess we'll see.
I don't mind his off-field demeanor. If he's calm and chill off-field, then I don't mind that. I think quite a lot of the 49ers players are. I mean, we had Lorenzo Jerome on, and he was a pretty chill guy, laughing and joking, but on-field, he's a dog.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, you can't miss that dog on the field.
Yeah, we want that dog on the field. We don't know about Witherspoon. It could be a confidence thing. He's coming out of college, and he might not have within him the confidence that someone like a Rashard Robinson has, who, as soon as he came into the 49ers camp, was chatting smack at everyone. He was really giving it all that, and he's continued this year. Hopefully, some time with Robinson will bring that out of him. I don't need him to be talking smack. We want to be playing hard. I don't know if he is or not. We unfortunately haven't been able to go and watch camp. You're working, and I'm the wrong side of the Atlantic Ocean. But hopefully, he is giving some dog, and we'll see in preseason. I think. Hopefully we'll see some physicality out of him. Hopefully we'll see some good coverage stuff out of him. I think he's got all the tools. It's just, can he bring it together? And I'm really excited to see him. But I think we should, after hearing what we've heard so far, we probably need to temper expectations for Achille Witherspoon going forward. I don't think he's going to be a week 1 starter, and if he is, that's probably more of an indictment of what Reeser and Johnson have been up to than what Witherspoon has done.
Right. There's a lot of guys talking. Go Hard saying that Witherspoon's a beanbag player. Doesn't fit the image of a playing beanbag over in the corner in high school. So he thinks Colbert's going to take Witherspoon's job, and he said it right before the 7th round. He said he thinks that that Colbert's going to take Witherspoon's job on this team. So that is a quite possibility. Gohard also asked a couple of questions, but I'm not going to answer those questions because they're great questions and they'd be great for the mailbag. So If you guys have any questions like that, those are definitely 2 great prime questions for the mailbag about training camp. So make sure you check out our Nothing But Niners mailbag. Submit your questions there, and you have a chance to win two tickets to the open practice August 5th. So definitely do that. But we've talked about the good. We've talked about the bad. We've talked about the ugly a little bit. The ugly being injuries. I mean, we really can't touch much more on injuries, but other than injuries, what else is ugly, Scott? What do you think?
What else is ugly? I think we heard a little bit about Capri Bibbs getting himself put on burner by the running backs coach Bobby Turner. So that's an interesting one. He's a kind of a weird pickup who appears to have some attractive Kyle Shanahan traits. He can catch the ball at the backfield. He's a good zone runner, kind of a one-cut, foot in the ground, get to the next level, bit of chunk about him, can run over linebackers, that kind of thing. So hearing that is kind of ugly. You don't expect to sort of hear a coach really kind of going after a player and basically not talking to him for a whole session. It suggests that Bibbs is not listening, which is a sad indictment of a man who was undrafted and has basically bounced around kind of the Broncos practice squad active roster and now is in San Francisco, having not necessarily cost us a pick because we got Trent Taylor out of the trade.
Right.
You want to see a return on the investment that we made in him, and right now he appears to not be doing that. And the other one would be, I think, Joshua Garnett. Again, for a similar reason, we heard information yesterday. I said the offensive line was ugly, was bad, but Joshua Garnett sounds like he's been a bit ugly at times, like he's literally on ice skates. And there was a report yesterday that I think was from Grant Cohn that Charles Haley basically called someone over and chatted to them about Joshua Garnett, and he's been put on skates by DeForest Buckner, which, you know, I think most grown men would be put on skates by DeForest Buckner. DeForest Buckner could probably have the pair of us on skates with one arm, but you expect better from an NFL caliber sort of highly
offensive lineman,
guard.
First round man at that.
Allegedly had some dog about him. You don't expect him to be literally running scared from a guy like DeForest Buckner. He should be relishing that challenge, getting up for it, and giving as good as he gets.
Yeah, if you guys haven't checked out that article by Grant Cohn, there's a lot of good, interesting stuff in there as well as that option we were just talking about with Charles Haley and Garnett going at it. Basically, there was some heated discussion about that between the player and between Garnett pissed off Charles Haley pretty much. But you can check that out. But so I don't really have any other uglies, but I do have a great.
Hits with the great.
And
this on a high.
Yeah, and the great about this is, how about Kyle Shanahan telling John Lynch to go grab the player or the fans from the other side of the field to bring them closer so they can see practice better. That right there, guys, is just something that our fans have been looking for, have been striving for. And I said this the other day. I said this to Trent Brown. I said it seems like John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are trying to bring back that Eddie DeBartolo feeling, the love, the family, I got your back type of stuff in this locker room. And every player we talk about, it's either iron sharpens iron, or we got each other's back. General Manager John Lynch says the same. Guys, that's a great feeling, man. That's a great feeling. That's a great insight as to where our team is headed. If we can continue to stay on that pace, get players to play like dogs on the field, I think we'll be all right. Anything, Scott? Anything else?
You're going to amend that season prediction up then? Were you a 10-6 man? You gonna?
No, man. Look, I went on a splurge, and I said that at first I had us 10-6, but now that I see this defensive line playing, I think this defense, the front seven, is going to get us at least 2 wins by themselves. So I'm going to go 12-4.
Oh, my nose.
So I've been bold with my predictions. I know it. I've always been that way. I'm going to continue to say it. I love this team. I'm very optimistic. I thought that we could pull out 9, maybe 10 wins. The only thing that hurts me with that prediction right now is we got to get our secondary healthy, right? We got to get our secondary healthy. So, got to get our secondary healthy. We got to be able to have the likes of Dante Johnson and Rashard Robinson holding the corners down on the outside, as well as the safeties being healthy. But this front seven, man, this might be the next making, man. Guys, like I said, tweet at us. Let us know you watched the show. Let us know how many sacks you think this front seven will get. Well, just the 49ers defense in total will get this year. So I think we had 26 last year, right? Or 23, something like that. 23 or 26.
There's a lot more. We actually did okay on sacks last year.
Well, the leading team was 46 or 48.
Yeah, we were in the 30s. I think we were 33. Hang on, let me look that up. NFL teams sacks. I think we were 33. I think we were like tied for 19th or something.
Okay.
Which isn't diabolical. And actually, it makes you think that given the scheme that those guys were playing and the number of injuries we had, we weren't awful in terms of sacks. But I think the big one is going to be how well do they play in this scheme. So I'm gonna personally estimate that we're going to go quite a lot up. Yeah, we were 33 sacks with 19 with joint 19th. We were equal with Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Miami with their front. San Francisco was us. Jacksonville with their front, which isn't bad. And we were one short of Atlanta and New England, the 2 Super Bowl champions.
Okay.
You don't need. I mean, sacks don't tell you everything. So I'm sure their pass rush was a lot better than ours.
Right.
But you don't need crazy sack totals.
I just think it's a good topic of conversation, just thinking about how many we have. So, all right, so Scott looked it up. We had 33 last year, tied for 19th, right? So what do you guys think this front seven can get us? How many sacks do you think this front seven can get us? So make sure you tweet at us, nothing but 9 ERS on Twitter. Let us know what you think how many sacks we'll get. So, all right, so yeah, guys, you heard it here, 12-4. I'm saying 12-4, and that really depends on our secondary. You can call me crazy, call me whatever you want, but I'm a very optimistic, and I love the hell out of this team. So that's my thoughts on it. I think this defense gets us 2 wins. All right, 2 wins by itself. I think Brian Hoyer is going to surprise the hell out of a lot of people this year, as well as Marquis Goodwin and this receiving core that we have. So, Scott, you got anything else, buddy?
Just remember to send those mailbag questions in. Comment below, tweet us, Facebook, everything. Just get us those questions and we'll try and answer as many of them as we can.
Yeah, guys, get that mailbag questions in. Scott will handle that. It'll be out Tuesday or Wednesday morning, I believe. Wednesday morning. But yeah, you can find us on Twitter, nothing but 9 ERS. Same as Snapchat, nothing but 9 ERS. Nothing but Niners on Instagram, nothing but Niners on Facebook, nothing but Niners on YouTube. SoundCloud is Talk 49ers with Nothing But Niners. That's SoundCloud, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play. And most of all, nothingbutniners.com, guys. You can check us out. Check all our articles out there. Content is updated daily. If you have any other questions, hit us up. We take all the feedback, criticism, constructive criticism, whatever it is, we take it all. We are putting out the best content for you guys. Make sure you follow us on any avenue or every avenue. Have your notifications set, hit the like buttons, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and above all else, stay faithful. We out.